Hey, yo, you ready? Let's do it. Yeah.
Massive coughing fit at the end of this episode. I'm genuinely, my eye was pink.
Gone, completely gone.
I know, I tried to hold it in.
You did, to be fair, you did well holding it in. Face right up to the wall as well.
Coughing into it all. I know. You know what? We've been professional for so long. Got to episode 82.
Yeah.
Couldn't hold it in any longer.
But I still think you dealt with it pretty well. So good on you.
Oh,
welcome back as well, mate. Well done on the UTS.
Yeah, thank you. Mate. Yeah.
Mental, absolutely mental.
Yeah, it was.
You've got 4 minutes, so. Talk to me.
To tell you what's
You've got a debrief now.
You've seen some of the footage.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Shown you briefly, so I will put that into a bit of a YouTube montage, mate. It's not going to be like a proper your documentary from Boston, but it's going to be. You can't film that much when it's like that.
No, you couldn't see.
No, it was mental. It was a great race though. So I had, obviously Keith likes the Arc, right? But my experience of the Arc was not great, and I kind of left there thinking, not for me these UTMB races, but. A mixture of things really, weather, other things, such as weather but also mud, and it was dark at 4, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's winter, innit? You're winter racing.
But the place was horrendous, weren't it? They were really bad, like unsafe at points.
Yeah.
And they ruined
people at sea.
Yeah, it was shocking, mate. Ruined the coastal path. Didn't really feel like they were that bothered as well, to be honest. That mate didn't get a medal, did he?
No. Any problems with that this year?
Oh no, UTS got the t-shirt before we started, mate. Good. Brilliant. Give me the t-shirt straight away. Didn't even have to do it.
But you've done it, so you can wear it proud.
Did definitely do it though, yeah. But just treated it as like a bit of a day out, mate.
I don't, unless you're training for that specifically for a good few months and going up and doing recce's and everything, I don't think you can do much more, can you?
Honestly, I don't know how I'd race it. Even now, I'm like, well, what would I do differently? Maybe be a bit quicker on the downs.
I think you just push it a bit quick, push it a bit more out, ups and downs. But like I say, you've got to go and physically be on that course before to know where you can push.
100%. Yeah. Funny, like when you messaged me, you basically said the exact same thing I was saying that weekend. That was like, this isn't a trail race; it's a mountain race. This because you literally just climb for 4 hours.
Yeah.
4 miles. Probably 4 hours. Actually. 4 miles. Like the hilarious thing about. That the start of the race is like it's booming with like the music, like dead inspirational music. Count you in, you leave. 40 metres later, you're walking.
Are you not just straight up Snowdonia?
Yeah.
Good.
You are, mate. Yeah, pretty much.
Which is 3,000 feet in it of climbing, pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more.
And because there's all different races going on, the 80k were coming into the finish. So I saw Christian from Riverrun Club coming in.
Yeah.
But that set off at like 8 p.m. the night before. The one that set off at 5:30 in the morning. 100 mile had gone out on the Friday.
Yes.
Bodies all over Snowdonia, mate. It's mental.
And people that are there just for the day out in Snowdonia as well.
Didn't feel like a busy event though. I think because Llanberis is quite a decent sized town, whereas like with the Arc, you're in this area where there was nothing else around it. It just felt a bit different. Just felt a bit of a nicer vibe.
Which is what you want. That's what you're going for the trail running for, isn't it? That's what you want.
It was so good. And then, but even the I was looking at the DNF rates, like the 50k, about a quarter didn't finish.
Yeah, they were a lot. Tracking it keeps updating it, and how many DNFs there are and stuff like that. It's quite a good little thing to have that in terms of because then you realise how tough it is when people are dropping out. Then it's the people that are finishing it. You're going, do you know what? They've done all right.
Yeah, fair play. Because I never thought at any point I'm not going to finish the race. So I was just like, I'll plod through it. But it went pretty well. I think
that distance as well. I think you've done quite a few now that are 50 miler.
Yeah.
So 35
feels okay.
It's all right. I know you've obviously got a bit more elevation with it, but you're not new to it, are you? In terms of that distance and. Yeah, you're fine with it.
It's nice to get to that though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because even now, it's just, even though I wasn't racing it, it's giving me loads of confidence for like the 50 and like obviously Hayden's Wall. I feel a lot more confident about that because of how well that race sort of went.
Yeah. So. And with your build up, twisted ankle, missing Manchester, missing some runs that you wanted to do, to still turn up and do 35 miles and do it pretty confidently as well. It's not a bad position to be in, is it?
It's definitely boosted me up a bit, mate. Yeah. So now I'm looking forward to it. But Keith, 3rd place. Only a mere 444 places ahead of me, mate. It's not that much of a gap.
No.
I'm catching him.
You are. You'll be there. CCC.
Yeah, gosh, imagine. That is the dream, innit? More running stones secured, mate.
Just keep going at it, mate. Why not?
Expensive hobby, though, innit?
Good though, isn't it?
Anyway, Keith gets it for free. Elite level trail runner.
Yeah.
Coming at you. Let's get him on, mate.
Go on, Wiggy.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys.
Yeah, I got overtaken by the first lady of the 100. And she looked that fresh. I thought she was doing the 50k. She was like, all right, so she looks fine. But pulling in the 100. Have you never fancied the 100, Keith? 100 miler?
I have. I did actually teeter with all the controversy about them changing the route and stuff this year. When they changed the route and sort of downgraded it a little bit, I did think about emailing them and asking, can I bump up to the 100 miler? Just because it is a really good route still, and it still encompassed all the old 100k section, which I really liked. But my experience of 100 milers in the past, they've both been UTMBs, and I think I tried to jump up to that distance a little bit too soon. And I really struggle with the stuff through the night. I've never been like a night owl sort of character. I've always been like early to rise, morning person. Never really had that scene at university where I'd be out late drinking and stuff. I was in the army for a bit, so I'm kind of used to a bit of nighttime fatigue and working through the night, but it's just never really agreed with my biology, I suppose. So going from 100k where I know I'm starting in the morning and finishing before the head torches go on, it's just a day, isn't it? That just seems to suit me way better than as soon as you go into having to go through a night. I think it just changes the ball game from a race. I feel 50k, 100k, if it's in the daytime, kind of feels more like a race, where as soon as you start going through a night or two nights, it becomes more of this sort of still a race. These guys at the front are still rapid, but there's also just so many other elements getting drawn into it that you might not just be able to, can't really train for some of this stuff. You can get better, I guess, at working your way through the night and stuff like that. But I think a lot of it also just comes down to your basic biology and how you're wired.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like an unfair advantage to some people, whereas I want it to be as even playing field as possible. I feel like if I just get really fit and really good at moving over whatever the terrain is for the race, then I'm well equipped for that race. Whereas if I'm having to deal with sleep deprivation and things like that, it's too many variables for me to try and control.
I couldn't deal with that, mate. Carl's obviously done the Lakeland 100 before, and that was about, what was that, nearly 40 hours?
Yeah, it was exactly that. Yeah, 2 nights, and you can train for it. You go out and do night runs and everything, but you can't prepare your body for a night of running, never mind 2 nights of it. Things just don't work the way they do over a 12-hour period. They just don't. And I don't know how you really get better at that unless you do more of it. But even then, like I say, if you're not a night person, you're then changing everything you've trained for a race or so. Stick to the 100k.
I'm still slightly tempted by it. I think if I do one, it will be the UTS one, because now I pretty much, having done the new 100k course and the old 100k course, I've done all the 100 mile route.
Yeah.
So at least I know the route and stuff like that. And it is, if I was to do it next year, it'd be my 5th year of going back to ETS. So that kind of sounds nice.
Yeah. But, that's a good one to do, definitely. I mean, obviously, all this talk of UTS, obviously, that was just at the weekend gone. But could you, I guess the best thing to do is just give a bit of a brief introduction as well. We've gone straight into UTS here, haven't we? Because it's literally just happened.
Yeah, no problem. So grew up in central Scotland, Perthshire. Was very sporty at school. I went to a really good school. My mum's in the corner here actually, so thanks mum for sending me to a really good school. She's getting a live podcast, which is nice.
Exclusive.
Wait for it to come out and then listen to it.
Lucky woman.
So I went to a really good school and had an older brother as well, 2 years older than me. So both just grew up doing loads of sport. I mean, predominantly hockey and cricket for both of us. Really, were sort of our main sports at school. So team sports really. I guess I was a decent runner, but sort of didn't have like a proper running program at the school. It was more like, you know, the faster kids just get drawn into whatever cross-country competition, and like no one enjoys it, do they? You're just told, oh, you're the decent runner, right? You're doing the cross-country for the school on this day or whatever. But was always running with sport, I suppose, at school. And then university, wasn't particularly active really, and not because I was, you know, out drinking or anything like that. I was just very academic. So like 4 years at university, didn't really run much or do much team sports either. I kind of like took a back seat for a while. Then left university and joined the Royal Navy. And I guess I kind of refound a bit of fitness there. You know, you're going through basic training, so they're getting you pretty fit. And just with a couple of mates at the time, we kind of used that fitness to do a couple of marathons. We did a trail marathon in North Devon, and we did Isle of Wight road marathon. But again, like, we didn't know what we were doing, you know, just sign up to these things and just spur of the moment and things like that. So I was getting into running a little bit more. And then at the time I left the Royal Navy to join the Army, a lot of that was motivated by trying to be a bit more active, you know, get off ship and start crawling through the mud with some soldiers and stuff instead. And around that time, met a few good friends who were trail runners. So that kind of got me into that scene. I kind of used the running as a little bit of like, because I've been sort of in the Navy for 2.5 years and really kind of felt like I was stuck on ship and stuff. Once I started leaving the Navy and transferring to the Army, kind of felt like a nice release to, like, you know, be out in green spaces and a bit of freedom. And so I kind of got into running that way. And I suppose that's why I kind of jumped the road scene and kind of went straight to the trail, because of that, like, escapism aspect to it. And then it's probably spent like a few years just, you know, doing more and more. My mum's laughing at me, doing more and more. Trail running, like trying to up the distance a little bit more. Sort of started at 50 Ks, and then I think in my first year, I maybe did like 5 ultra marathons, which is a bit dumb now. I wouldn't do that now. And kind of one every, or maybe 6, like one every 2 months probably. And didn't really train and just kind of like dragged my broken body from one race to the next. But loved it and realised I was like relatively good at it. Like I probably like won or podiumed most of these events. They weren't big, they're like local, like local UK events and things like that. And then things kind of just progressed, you know. I got a bit more serious with it over the years. Eventually left the Army and became a teacher. And around that time started getting coached as well through the Elite Trail team and through Doug Stewart. So it was all like really gradual. And if you'd said like back in when did I really start running, like 2019, that like one day you'd be like full-time running on the trails, I'd have been like, absolutely not, that's just like, that's a joke. But things progressed and just kept getting better at it, I guess, and now I find myself signing up to UTS year on year on year.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So when you first started getting into it, then, like, obviously you started joining your friends on the trail runs and stuff, how soon did you realise, I actually am pretty good at this? Yeah, like, I'm better than my mates.
Yeah, much better.
I think like what hooked me immediately was the competitive aspect of it. Like, I probably literally started with like a park run. I think the first park run I did was like Chichester Park Run, which was predominantly like trail. And I probably had like an 18-minute or like 18-minute park run or something like that. I came second. And I just was like, oh man, you can do this every weekend. I'd never done a park run. I was like, oh, there's literally like a 5K every weekend. So then did a bit of park run tourism down the sort of south coast where I was based at the time. And I was like, all right, I'll try 10K. And then did 10K and was like, and that was a road one. And I just realised, like, Christ, I'm never going to be fast enough to like I feel like I'm chasing people who have been probably training on roads since they were like teenagers and stuff. I don't have like this raw speed, but let's like up the ante and just go further, and maybe speed won't be so essential. That's kind of changed the game. The game seems to have changed now. Now you need to be quick, but this is like back in the day where you could probably have like a handful of nuts at the start line of an ultra and just run 50k, and whoever survived would win. So I kind of enjoyed that aspect to it. But yeah, I think like relatively early on, I mean, I won my first ultra marathon, but I mean, there's probably like 50 people on the start line. It was like a 50k in the Brecon Beacons. And then after that was just like, I kind of was a bit sneaky, and I was trying to I would look at like course records and find events that I thought I could win. So that first year, I'd just be like, anything that I thought I could probably win, I would just sign up for.
Hunting that, and it's segment hunting.
There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. I encourage that.
Strava got me into it as well, literally like, segment hunting.
Brilliant.
All these things were new to me at the time, as anyone that gets sort of into running, right? You think it's all the park run, it's the Strava, it's these things that get you fixed, get you hooked early.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing is, the park runs and the Strava segments were exciting, weren't they? Like, we do park runs now, don't we? But the Strava hunting, that's gone. But they were like the good old days, in terms of you weren't training, you weren't following a plan or anything. You were just running for the sake of running, weren't you? And they were good days, they were.
Yeah. I can remember going back to like visit my parents for the first time, like being on Strava and just trying to find local segments. And you would just like, you go on your run, wouldn't you? You know where the segment starts exactly, and then you just hammer it just to beat. And probably like some road runners been out doing like 10k tempo. You're like, I'm just going to do this
one segment,
2 mile segment at a sprint, just to take this pointless crown off him.
Warming up for it. There used to be a thing on the watch that used to tell you when a segment started as well, didn't it? When you had a Garmin on.
Yeah, I think it beeped. It was like, right, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, so you'd love that.
Be fuming if Keith moved in near you, wouldn't you? Fuming. Every segment gone.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Fantastic. But I guess it's a mental route into that trail running, and especially to the level that you're at now, because obviously 2019 you were elite trail team. So I mean, I guess talk us through that a little bit. So was it what's the sort of process for you getting into the elite trail team?
Yeah, so 2019 was kind of when I started running. I joined elite trail team in 2024.
Okay.
So about 2.5 years ago now. I literally saw the advertisement on Instagram. I think I was aware, or I'd maybe started following George Fisher, who had been in the team, or I'd seen on his Instagram profile that he was in this team called Elite Trail Team. I think I'd looked at their like website and stuff like that. And by chance, at that time, I was kind of at the stage where I felt like I was kind of plateauing by training myself.
Oh, so you had no coach at this stage then?
No, I had no coach. Like in the early years, I was purely like, I would just run when I had time. I'd just go out the door and just do 30 minutes. If I had an hour, I'd run an hour. I didn't do workouts or intervals or anything like that for maybe like first 2-3 years of running ultramarathons. I just accumulate as much, like, and not even doing massive amounts of volume. Maybe I'd like average like 40, maybe 50 miles a week, and nothing ridiculous at all. No real, and then sometimes go on a bike ride and things like that, but just no structure to it at all. And then it would have been early 2024, like January 2024, It was at the stage where I was looking for a coach, and then saw this on Instagram, so I advertised, applied. I also sent it to Hugh Chatfield, who you've had on. This boy owes me a lot, because I like chased him down. I was like, you need to get on. I'd be interested to see the messages I sent him at the time. I'm pretty sure I was like, you need to get on this train. Like, it's moving out the station. Like, this will be good for us. Because we had met at UTS the year before in 2023 and come third and fourth. And then we had done, as a pair, we had done the Elite together in that autumn. But we still didn't know each other much, other than like spending that weekend with him dragging me around the hills of Wales again on the elite arm, which was just emotional. But yeah, I was like, we need to get in this. This sounds good to us. And he was kind of like, I don't really know. He had a coach at the time as well. But anyway, both applied. Both got interviewed by Doug Stewart, who's the founder and our coach, and has been since. And that really got the ball rolling with like training in a structured way, and then all the added benefits that the team has brought in terms of access to. I mean, I don't want to reiterate stuff which has probably poured on the podcast before, but within the team structure, we've got access to like Rebecca Dent, who's sports dietitian, Charlotte Edelston, who's sleep doctor, Josephine Perry's a sports psychologist. Then we've all gone through testing at Loughborough, like lactate threshold testing and VO2 max testing and stuff like that. We've all gone to Manchester where we've done biomechanics testing. So all this like crazy stuff that you just wouldn't have access to even if you were just coached, it goes way beyond that. Plus all the sort of partners and brands that we've been sort of accrued over the last few years. Endurance is a massive one, like a massive benefit. Should have seen Doug came with his car full from France, just literally full of endurance like gels.
Yeah.
And I think they did a post on Instagram today. I think in their car they had 15,000 grams of carb. And just dished it out to us at UTS for the weekend. Madness, absolute madness. So if you just think of like not just the benefit of that in terms of like training and racing, like just having access to like pretty much limitless carbs now, but the cost, like not having to spend like just masses and masses of money on training nutrition.
Yeah, that's got to be some record. That how many carbs can you fit in a car? And it's like around 50.
Imagine getting like pulled over with that. What are you doing with that, sir?
Yeah, I think he gets a little bit nervous about going through like customs on French on the channel crossing and stuff like that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Be a story,
wouldn't
it?
All powder, right?
Yeah,
Powder. I can see
all wrapped up.
Doug with
cartel.
1
gram bags, Doug.
Little Sealy ones.
It's absolutely great. So I guess though, in terms of like elite trail team, like you said, we have talked to Merrill, Hugh, Doug himself. We talked to quite a few. It's been really, really interesting for us. But you've had obviously your own personal experience with that. So what the differences that you've seen from you pre 2024 to now?
I always think of it as like 3 tiers to it. It kind of feels like 3 tiers to it now. I mean, obviously there's like this professional team atmosphere, like the benefits of just having a coach are massive, like and I saw that almost immediately back in 2024. Like I started with Doug in the January and I'd kind of already shaped out my trade, like the races I was going to do that year. So I was already signed up to do Seville Marathon in February just because I fancied like a road marathon, and trying to get felt nice to like try and do some speed training over the winter and not be like out in the hills and just a bit of a different training stimulus. So even just working with Doug I think we had like 6 weeks before having to taper for the Seville Marathon. Like just having some, if I hadn't had him, I would just gone out and like been running around and jogging about. Whereas like immediately it was into like a rigorous marathon building plan. And then I did like a 2:26 at Seville, off of like 6 weeks of training. Before that, all I was doing was jogging around. So, I mean, obviously I had like a base level of fitness, clearly, but I wouldn't have even, it wasn't just like the coaching side to that. It was like the switch in like mental, like I immediately thought after doing like a few like training sessions and stuff, I was like, had I not like joined the team and started being coached with him, I probably would have just set like a bar of like maybe 2:45. I would have just trained and just thought that's a good time. Let's just do that. But within a couple of weeks of being coached and stuff, I was like, let's just shoot for sub 2:30.
That's so what's that switch that makes that, because that is a big difference.
Sends it over.
Yeah, because we need to know that.
I think I did like I did a Christmas, like just before starting getting coached by Doug. I think I did Christmas park run with my dad, and I think I just dipped under 16 minutes. And you can look at like different calculators online and stuff like that, and if you put in like your 5k time or whatever, it'll predict what it thinks like your marathon ballpark might be. And I think if you go under like 16 minutes, then it might think you could do like a 2:30 high, like probably not sub 2:30, but it thinks you're like you're probably nearer 2:30 than you are nearer 2:45. So I was like, then I started getting coached by Doug, and I just found I'm quite like metronomic. So like, and I was doing a lot of training on the treadmill. So I would basically just stick in the marathon pace on the treadmill, and it's weird how quickly your body adapt. Like to begin with, it feels horrendous. Like if you put 2:30 marathon pace on the treadmill for the first time, like you're like, I'm an absolute, I can't hold this, I'm in rag. But because it's on a treadmill, right, you're like locked in. So eventually, like I was just able to get used to running at that pace. So come race day, it worked out. But anyway, so back to your overall question. Yeah, so there was like the professional aspect to it and the training aspect to it, which I think has been really valuable. And that build to Seville Marathon maybe gives you a little bit of flavour of that. And then if you think about applying that to the trails over the last like 2 years, like the increase in my performance have been so much better, you know, in terms of just training specifically for the demands of, you know, UTS or whatever race it may be. Then there's the team aspect to it, which I think is really like novel and stuff. Like a lot of people might have coaches and stuff, and they might know some athletes that are also coached by that coach, but I feel like we as a team are like, it definitely feels like a team as well. If you think even at UTS this weekend, there was me racing the 100k, then there was Chris, Charlie and Sam all on 25k, Rebecca, our sports dietitian was doing the 50k, Alexa, Doug's wife, was doing the 100k. So there was, hope I'm not missing anyone, there was 6 of us in the team, athletes and otherwise, racing at the event. And then now that we've got the ETT Run Club, which I think one or both of you are both in. Steve, you're definitely in.
I'm definitely in it, yeah. I'm in it.
Now that we've got the Run Club as well, there was loads of people sort of from our wider community there as well that you'd sort of chatted to online or had got bits and pieces from being part of the Run Club, which there's quite a lot of benefits to. So that's now like a nicer aspect. And Poppy was there as well, and Chelsea was there as well, out supporting on course. So 2 other athletes in the team, not racing but out supporting. So and we chat every week. So Wednesday nights our usual team call. So that's good. And to me that was a big boost. It didn't feel like I was just like, it's quite a lonely sport running at times, isn't it? Like just going out and running, especially in the UK, like the depths of winter and stuff. Whereas if you can get a bit of like motivation from hearing what your teammates are doing, then that's like a massive boost. And then also seeing them out on course on race day cheering you on and things like that, even if they're not racing, like Poppy and Chelsea were still out there cheering and supporting. So I think that's great. Yeah, I mean, I literally would not have got anywhere near the level that I am now without like the professional aspect of the team and like the community aspect of the team, and then all those added benefits that we've also already talked about in terms of like the scientific backing of doing all these tests and stuff at Loughborough and having access to like professionals that know a lot more about nutrition or sleep or sports psychology than I would ever know or be able to read about online.
Yeah,
it's epic that. Does Doug did he give you the confidence in going, look, you're a lot faster than what you should be, or I can get you up to this straight away? Did he give you a bit of confidence in terms of going a bit quicker and it reaching for those bigger targets, should I say?
Yeah, well, I knew like Doug I knew some of the characters you already coached. You know, I mentioned George Fisher. So George Fisher at the time was like really competitive on the UK mountain running scene. He's now taken a little bit of a step back and has a family and stuff like that. I also knew Doug coached a lot of other good athletes. So Robert Hadgenall used to be in the team, and Doug pretty much took him from, you know, probably like a similar regional level like talent to the UTMB podium. I can't remember what year Robert came second at UTMB. It's a good few years ago now, but I was fairly confident that like about Doug's ability. If he's able to take, you know, someone like Robert from like a good level athlete to a great one, I was like, well, if you can do that with Robert, why can't he do that with me?
He's not done too bad, has he?
All right. Yeah.
Would you encourage? Would you encourage like amateur runners that they should get a coach? Do you think it's really important? Because you see a lot of different tips, don't you, on Instagram? People use apps or whatever it is to get some coaching. So, what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah. I mean, certainly made the difference for me. Whether it made the difference for everyone, I don't know. I can't speak for how beneficial some of these apps are now. You know, I've never been on any. So yeah, I can't really say for them, but I think just one thing is like, it gives you a level of accountability, right? I know there's like eyes other than my own watching my training. So it gives you like, if it was just me setting my own workouts, then there's the potential that I go easy on myself, right? Or like you back off, or you design something not as hard as it should be, because you just don't want to inflict the level of pain and suffering on yourself, right? Whereas if someone else is doing it, then not that Doug's like a masochist or anything like that, but like it's out of your hands, right? He's putting in what he thinks is the best thing, whether it's going to be total sufferfest or not. And then also like during the workout, I know I want to like execute it as intended, because I know he's going to be reviewing it. Plus like, I don't need to think about it. Like if we plan together that I'm going to be doing like races X, Y, and Z over the course of the year, and we agree on that, I don't need to be thinking about, right, what's the best way for me to train to prepare for race X in 3 months' time, because that's his job, you know. So I just have faith in what he sets. Sometimes I get a little bit twitchy, and I'm like, well, I want to kind of do more, or should I do these sessions or things like that? Can I add on an extra little bit of a bike ride? But it's nice to sort of take that out of your hands and have like a professional deal with it and stuff. I think most people would benefit from, whether you're an amateur or not. Yeah, I think getting some like professional eyes on it is going to help you improve, for sure. Yeah,
I think I like the idea of like you personally not picking your own races, because I've had a couple of coaches now, and my kind of downfall has been, well, I want to do this and I want to do that, and then they try and work around those races. But realistically, the races I've picked are either too soon next to each other, they're not the right races for me, but I'm trying to force a coach to try and build around the races I want, where with what you've got, it's pretty much, you're not doing that, you're doing this, we're going to work towards that, and that's the end of the discussion, isn't it, really? So
yeah, I think the most common mistake, and it was a mistake I used to do as well, is that people race too much, race way too much. If you think of, you know, elite marathon runners, like they might only race twice in a year, max 3 times a year, and that's a marathon, so that's generally at the shorter end of what most of us are doing. You know, the ultra scene people like to just go out and do, let's say, 50k or more generally, you know. And the marathon runners are also doing it on a nice smooth surface, no downhills, and they're doing it in less than 2 hours now, and they're only doing 2 or 3 races a year. So 6 hours of like full throttle effort, and then your average ultra runner wants to do a 50k or more once a month, or maybe once every 2 months or 3 months, like the cost on your body is just like ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And they could be out there for 10 plus hours. Yeah, so you're not going to train effectively if you're doing that. And then if you're doing a 10, say Stephen's done 10 hours at UTS 50k at the weekend, and then he's got another 10-hour plus race in 2 months. Well, he's not going to recover from he's smiling already.
He said 2 weeks or 2 months.
Yeah. He's not going to have recovered from the hit to his body of doing UTS for a good few weeks now. Even if he thinks he's recovered, like the toll on like his tendons and his hormonal system and all this stuff, all these imbalances are still going to be like properly there for like, let's say 3 weeks, I don't know. And then you're going to try and build into another race, and then you got to taper for that race, then you got to do that race, then you got to recover from that race. Yeah, it's just, I think, the average athlete the average runner probably runs too much. And I get it, because like you want to, the counter argument might be that you're not there to win the race or anything like that. But you probably also want to be a runner for as long as you can. And if you're doing these things like month on month on month on month on month, and you're probably not fueling and recovering from them as efficiently as you could, then you might not be a runner for as long as you'd like in your life. So you probably need to play the long game and be a little bit more smarter, and be a little bit like, maybe I should skip that race for this year and do it next year, and just space things out a little bit more. I think like getting a coach would probably help you do that.
Yeah,
and then you probably find that you just enjoy the experience of racing a little bit more, because you've got more to give. You're like, oh, this is my one chance in these, because I know I'm not going to race again for another like 4 months.
Yeah, make the most
or
of it.
5 months or whatever. So I'm super fresh for this one, because I've had 4 months, 5 months to build into this one. So let's go for it. And you're probably going to enjoy that race loads, because you've got so much invested in it. And you're super fresh for it, you're super well trained for it, rather than like, oh, I'm semi-broken, I'm carrying this ankle injury. So many people you see, like, the excuses come out early pre-race, don't they? Like, oh, I'm covered in tape already and things like this.
Are you just reading out what I was saying?
I know, yeah. Have you met before?
I was going to ask you this though, right? So I would say UTS. I thought, I'm not racing UTS, right? I'm just getting around it because I'm just going to enjoy the day. So does that then mean I've got more to give it an extra time, or is it always the same? It's the distance on your body and it's the impact it's going to have?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of that as well. Like, I suppose you could rein yourself in a little bit and use it as a training run or a training event to build up to something that, like your A race or something like that. But if you're doing 50k, 10 hours as a training run, that's still a huge toll on your body for no matter what, like no matter what your A race is in a few weeks' time. Like, even when I'm training for UTS 100k, I'm not going out and doing like a 10-hour training run, because that's just like massive, like huge toll. Like, I probably peaked at like maybe like 4 or 5 hour run.
Okay.
Just because then you can recover from that and go into another week of training. Whereas if you're doing like a 10-hour run, even if it's relatively easy and you're trying to take it easy, but again, you might get sucked into that race atmosphere, right, and probably end up pushing harder than you intended to do, because you're in a race, right?
I feel like you know me, don't you?
It's right about everything, isn't it?
I know. It's weird.
Well, like if you're using it for a training race, still a big time to be out on your feet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, to be fair. All right, fair enough. Point taken.
You've been told there. You've been told. All directed towards you, personally.
Fantastic.
So what have you got next?
I don't want to go into that, mate. Let's 50s ages off, mate. So, with I was going to ask you, because you said about, obviously, everyone, and I get this, like you said before, everyone's mad keen. There's all these really good races, and apparently now, like, ultra running is pretty commonplace now. Like, I feel like everyone you speak to is training for an ultra.
Yeah, I love it.
You know, it's a massive thing now.
You could literally do one every weekend, right?
Yeah.
Even just in the UK.
Exactly.
Easily.
Exactly. And there's so many, like, good ones that you see. So did you have to sort of, I guess, compromise when you started talking to Doug around? Because you were doing one every 2-3 months or whatever. And is that conversation something that, I don't know, was it sort of had in good spirits, or were you a bit like, oh, I'm disappointed I wanted to do these races? Or
I think at the time when I first started working with him, I think I had that Seville Marathon, so I'd pretty much signed up to everything already. I think I had that Seville Marathon in the plan. That would have been February. Then I had, so it was a little bit condensed actually. I had that, and then I had, I think, a race in Spain called Ultra Trail Sierra Nevada, which was maybe like a 60k in like April. So I went February, April. Then I went UTS May. So
fantastic.
Now we're talking.
I take some old medicine here, don't I? And then I think I had UTMB August. And I think that was maybe me done for the year. Or maybe it was me done for the year, because once I got to UTMB August, I was done for the year. But yeah, I think Doug was maybe a little bit like more lenient in that first year.
Yeah.
And just being like, all right, you've booked these things, let's just make the most of it, you know. Whereas now that things have progressed and, you know, you've got a bit more like professional about it and things like that, we do think about it a little bit more and spacing it out. Like even this year wasn't too bad, you know. I mean, doing the arc in January is always a little bit contentious because it's so early. You're like, do you want to start you're then having to train through the winter and things like that. Do you want to start your season that early? But before the arc, the last race I did was World Champs in September, and I took basically like three or 4 weeks completely off training then. So I kind of had like a bit of an off season then, and then could build into the arc. And then from arc till UTS, I didn't have any. Well, I did do a race in April, but like specifically as a training race, 50k, and it didn't take me 10 hours, so it's okay. It wouldn't take me, I don't know, it took me like 4 and a bit. So fine. Yeah,
thanks for
short
that.
enough.
4 and a bit.
Training run. So yeah, things are a little bit spaced out now. Do I get a little bit? Yeah, as you say, there's so many good races out there now. I find it so hard to plan and to choose and stuff like that. And now that running is I'm lucky enough that running is now my job. You know, I could get to any race I want, really. You know, like I could travel here, there, and everywhere. So now like the whole playing field is open, and you're like, oh my god, maybe I should go to the US.
Yeah.
Do one of these, or maybe we should go to like Tarawera in New Zealand. You know, like, I'll just slump the entire travel budget on one race to New Zealand. But I do have like a fond place for particularly UTS, but also the arc. I like racing in the UK. Kind of feels it's nice having like the crowds as English speaking as well, and like the support feels there and stuff like that, and you feel a little bit more part of the community around these races than doing like a race in France or Portugal or whatever and stuff like that. Plus, like, it's nice to take the sort of travel element out of it and things like that. I mean, Cornwall is you'd be fast to go into. Probably would be fast to go into bloody New Zealand. It feels like anyway than driving down to Cornwall. So
be a lot drier.
Yeah.
But it's nice not getting on a flight and, you know, having to do all this faff and things like that. But it's tough. It's tough picking. I think it'll be tough picking what races to do next year as well. Now that anything is possible.
Will you discuss it or not? Is it a discussion, or is it like something next year?
Yeah, I think it is a discussion. I mean, ultimately, Doug, like, you're going to get your best performance at a race that you are enthusiastic about doing.
Yeah, you want to do it.
So if I really want to do said race, like, Doug's not going to talk me out of it, because that's like the primary motivating factor, isn't it? Like, what do you want to do? So I don't think he would never discourage me from doing any race. We would only think about like the spacing of those races and making sure that it was sensible, so that you could actually peak appropriately, and not have like 5 peaks in a season, but like, what do we actually want to achieve here? Like, really, my main goal for the year is like CCC at UTMB, the 100k race at UTMB. So that's when I want to be at my peak fitness, not at the Arc in January.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking sensibly about these things.
Yeah, and to be fair, you're no stranger to a podium. Okay, you've had some really good performances over there, especially the UTMB stuff. So I think at the Arc this time round, what was the position this time round? Because you
second this year at the Arc.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. I think. And what was your time there in second?
7 hours 30 or something like that.
Cool. I was only about 7 hours behind you there. I came in at about 14 hours. It was probably the worst day of my life for that Keith down at Cornwall.
Tough conditions though, right?
I hate it. But
you're following my race schedule then. You've done Arc 50 and UTS.
Yeah. So what's next? CCC.
You didn't do UTS. You did UTS 50k.
I did the 50k, unfortunately. Yeah.
That is tough though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nearly as much elevation as the 100k. To be fair.
Yeah, I didn't realise that. We were talking just before we came on that, like, I thought I won't do the 80k because that'll be too much. But really, the climbing,
yeah. So the 80k would have been easier than the 50k for sure.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're getting way more climbing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was tough up there. We were saying this before, like it's. We see it as like, we do a lot of trail running and trail races, but that felt more like a mountain race because every climb was 4 miles long and the descents were horrible. But yeah, it's a tough race.
I don't know how you, unless really, I just don't know how you get up and down and so quick. Like, but for Snowdon, for example, and all the steep descents that are rocky, craggy, everything else. Like, what's the mentality going down? Are you just are you comfortable in terms of picking where you're going? Do you know where you're going, or is it just a kind of, I don't actually know, I'm just going for it as fast as I can? Is there a bit of tactics to it, or I just can't fathom how fast people move over certain terrain, and I never will understand it.
Well, I know, like, I've done it enough times that I know, like, the line and stuff like that. So yeah, like going down Pig Track on the Snowdon descent, for example, there is definitely like some better lines to take on some sections. But I'm not like hammering it. Absolutely not. Like I'm trying to do the opposite. Like that's the first descent in a race. I am trying to protect my quads and not like ruin myself. So I'm really just trying to think about trying to move, like smoothly and efficiently rather than like, I'm not thinking let's get down this as quickly as possible. Yeah. I'm trying to just almost think about get down this, saving as much energy as possible and not like being like really jolty and rigid, but just trying to relax and stuff like that. I guess it is like a skill but I do think it is, there's probably like some inherent ability with it. I grew up playing loads of different sports where I'm like changing direction and like multi-directional sports and all this stuff probably benefits you, like being a runner going down this terrain later in life. I also think it can be trained, but it just takes time, just like getting used to it and getting comfortable with it, and just trying not to like force it, I guess.
That makes sense to me, because to be honest with you, I saw a clip, I think it was yourself, and I think someone else, I can't remember what I was watching, but basically top end of the field, and the difference in how relaxed and fluid you look coming down the descents compared to like myself. I know that I'm quite stiff, but I think it's just nervousness of like falling, and with the rocks being quite wet, I was a bit like
I mean they were super wet. It was difficult. I almost actually had a really late decision about what pair of shoes to wear. I almost went with like shoes with like 3 mil lugs on, and even during the warm up with I like really pally with Tom Jolly, who came fourth. We stayed at the same accommodation and stuff. I was like, it was like bone dry warming up. I was like, Tom, I like, why? He was the one which convinced me to wear like the bigger lugs, like 5 mil lugs. I was like, Tom, this is a mistake. Like, I need to change shoes. Like, these are so much heavier. I don't want all this grip. Look, it's like bone dry. And by the time we got to the descent from Snowdonia Pig Track, Tom was like, "Told you had the right shoes." I was like, "Oh, thank goodness." And it only got worse throughout the day, you know. The new UTS 100k course had loads of really steep grass descents, like very steep pitch descents. I was just thinking, like, if I had gone with 0 lugs, it'd been an absolute nightmare. Or even on Mole Hebog, when the weather really closed in and I had good lugs on, there was twice where I slipped on a grass pitch. And no joke, I'm not over exaggerating, I must have slid about 30 meters just on my arse, just flying down the hill. I was like, I can't stop.
That's mental, isn't it?
Literally can't stop. Yeah, it's crazy. It was like, I almost turned back on Mole Hebog with like, this was like 20k to go. It's probably the only time in a race where I thought, like, this is dangerous.
Yeah.
I was like near hypothermic, and I just thought, I need to turn back. Like, this is, and then you're passing like 100 milers in the Clag, and I was just thinking, like, saw a guy lying on the ground. I was like, "Are you okay?" And he was just like, "Yeah, I just know it's gonna be really bad up there." I don't want to do it. And I was like, "Oh my god."
But the other things you kind of don't, like on Instagram and social media now, like I said, we'll see you flying about doing whatever. You don't really hear of or see the moment where you're flying 30 metres down, and then they don't see your thought process of going, do you know what, do I actually want to carry on with this? It's actually quite dangerous. You just don't see it, do you? Or hear about it that much. So thanks for sharing that, because it gives me a bit of I'm a soft arse when it comes to them descents. So
the good news is though, Keith, that was a Strava segment that you flew down.
Yeah, won it.
Slid down it.
Yeah, that would be nice actually. It would be raked it in, yeah. Get the slide going.
Can you not create one now, just on that bit?
Yeah.
Keith's bum slide, 30 metres.
Every year people trying it. You'd have to be wet though, wouldn't it? You'd have to be wet.
Brilliant. By the way, you did talk a little bit about Hugh, so I feel like there's like a bit of a friendly rivalry between you two. I always feel, and he stole your quote, but he did actually say it was you.
Giving it big and weren't he?
Was it? What was it? Overcome. It was adapt. What was it?
Accept, adapt, overcome.
Accept, adapt, overcome.
On Bear Grylls, isn't it?
Is it a bit of a bromance, this, between you two?
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. It's tough as well though, because we're both like super competitive and stuff. Yeah. Like I know for a fact, like Hugh obviously messaged me after the race this weekend. You know, I know like on the surface he's like saying like, "Oh, congratulations, what a great race" and stuff. But I know equally like he would have loved to have been out there, and he would have loved to be fighting for like the win and the podium and stuff as well. So it's like, I think we have benefited each other and made each other better. Cool. But it's also like, and you want each other to do well as well, because we're like really good mates, but you're also super competitive and we do similar races and often we're on the same start line and stuff. So ultimately you want to try and beat one another as well. So it's like, it can be a tough dynamic at times, and we train together a lot as well. And that can be good and bad, because like one of you can be super fresh on a training day, and then if the other's not, kind of feels like, oh well, he's just like better than me. How am I going to beat him in the race? You know. So, but overall, yeah, it's great, and like he's one member of the team. You know, there's plenty of others now. I see Holly lots in the lakes as well now. So we did. We recce'd a little bit of the Euros trials race, because we both did that race in April, so we spent some time doing that together and things. See Chris quite a lot now as well. So like both Hugh, Chris and I were out with Doug's in the south of France in like April last year, did a little training camp and things like that. So yeah, like we've said before, like the team aspect is great, but it also has its like sneaky little nuances as well, especially with you and I.
Yeah, but friction's good, isn't it? Friction's always good. So if you've got like that, surround yourself with people that are going to make you a better runner, then you're in the right place. Yeah. So it would be rubbish if you were the best runner in the room at all times, would it? It would be pointless.
I don't know if it'd be rubbish.
Good, but it's good for the ego. But
yeah.
Like, is there a scorecard on who's? Have you raced a certain amount of times? Has someone won? Is there like that going on, or do you just know for a fact that you've beaten more than?
Unfortunately for me, I think Hugh is quite comfortably in the lead now. When we first started doing it, we did kind of keep a tally, and then I think as soon as he started winning. I think as soon as he started winning the head-to-head on like position, I think I then convinced him that we changed it to like cumulative time, so for it to benefit me, obviously. And like, I think on UTS 2023 when we first raced, I think I beat him by like 30 minutes. So even over like the next maybe like 2 years, even though he maybe beat me more than I beat him, I was still ahead of him on race time. And then I think that got complete, at least, I don't know if it happened before this, but it was completely abolished as soon as we got to World Champs, and I completely spanked it and he came 12th. So I think he's well in the league now, unfortunately. But we haven't raced, when we last raced, we last raced at World Champs. So we need to get another race lined up. I think he wants to do UTS again next year. So maybe we'll both do UTS 100k 2027, which would be a good showdown. Because that's the only course where he's not beaten me, actually. I've beaten him and we've drawn. So even if he beats me next year, it'll be win, draw, win. Be even.
Worst case. That's not bad, is it?
Yeah, worst case, it's even.
Yeah, but you'll be doing the 100 mile next year, that's the problem.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I'll probably try. I do feel like we kind of feels like, people always say like Katie Shide and Courtney DeWalter like try and dodge each other, so they just win different things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe Hugh and I are like the male version, but far, far worse.
As long as you don't start wearing 3/4 length pants, then we're fine.
Yeah.
Don't be doing that.
Yeah, shorties. Yeah, I'm not game for them.
Are they jorts?
Jorts.
The jean shorts that are...
Yeah.
Wouldn't want them on UTS, would you? Not weekend.
Not up there, mate. No, not up there. That was weren't ideal coming down there, nowhere. In terms of the UTS though, I actually saw Doug really briefly when I was leaving, but I was freezing, so I had no shirt on at the time. I actually was getting chased in the van, so I think Doug was a bit freaked out that I was just shouting his name from across the car park, no shirt on.
I'd love to have said that.
Especially that I was like shivering as well. That's something wrong with me, but but were you happy with your performance at UTS?
Oh, it's a tough one. I guess it sounds really bad if I say I was disappointed, but I've honestly not stopped thinking about it since the end of the race. I think for the first 8 to 8.5 hours, it was probably like the best executed race I've ever done. I was comparing the splits to each checkpoint to like the predicted splits that I had, and all the way up to Bed Gellert, which is the last crew checkpoint with about 25k to go. I was basically like 3 minutes ahead of my estimated time of arrival at every single checkpoint. So I was like bang on for a finish time of around like 12 hours, which is what I thought was like possible. Paul, who won, finished in 11:53, and I wasn't. They were ahead of me, Paul and let's call him JP, because I don't want to say Jean-Philippe like 50 times. So Paul and JP were the two guys who were first and second. They kind of went ahead of us really early on, and the gap didn't really increase much more than. I think by the time I got to 25k to go, I'd actually closed the gap slightly on JP, who was in second. It was about like 6 minutes. So I was actually gaining on him, and Paul had slightly increased the gap to something like 15 minutes or something like that, but not like a massive margin, and then we went into like the Molehair Bog Nantyle Ridge section, which was the section that they'd added to the 100k course really last minute. It was the only section which I hadn't seen, which is a bit annoying. I've done a recce weekend 3 weeks before, and I'd done the whole what was now the old route before they added in this new section. And literally as I finished my recce, I got loads of messages saying, Keith, they changed the route while I was out there. And I was like, oh, for goodness sake. Anyway, so I hadn't seen it, but neither had JP or Paul, so put that aside, whatever. But I was feeling pretty good at that point, 25k to go. I was glad that I'd got there in third. I was pretty convinced that if I got there in third, I would at least hold third, because you're about to go into a section with 1,200 meters of climb. And at the front end of the field, it's so hard to catch people at that stage, because we're all probably moving fairly similar speed on the uphill, because you're just kind of you're super fatigued and stuff. It's going to be really hard to take loads of time back. And then I think unfortunately, it was almost just bad timing. The weather forecast had been really difficult to predict. It did look like it was going to get worse in that afternoon, but there hadn't been anything ridiculous earlier in the day. I'd been caught out a little bit in the rain, but wasn't cold, and I'd already been up high, so I wasn't really expecting anything different that I'd already seen. And then I started climbing Molehead Bog, last big climb of the day out of that checkpoint. And towards the top, it was just on another level. For anyone that doesn't know the area, I suppose Molehead Bog is almost the most westerly hill in that sort of area. So if on a clear day you can see the sea, you can see the coast from the top, so that gives you an idea of the exposure. So you just, because it was not a clear day, it was quite the opposite by this stage. This front had just come in, it was just getting smashed. So and you're obviously later in the day now, you've gone through a day of getting quite wet, and you're moving a lot slower now as well. So the cold just suddenly hit me, and I was proper cold. All I had on was race thin waterproof, and I was pretty wet underneath from earlier in the day. And I was this was when I was I should turn back. This is bad. Yeah. But I figured I'm going to be just as cold going back as I am going forward. So persevered, but my pace just went massively slower. I think it took about maybe 40 minutes over this section, longer than I predicted to take. Yeah. So really suffered. That's when the time gap to JP and Paul just exploded. And then I think the cold started to affect my breathing. So even when I got onto the final descent, Stephen, is quite that runnable trail back towards Lambert. Last year, I was just pinging 4-minute Ks down it, just tanking it into the line. And this year I was walking. I literally couldn't run downhill because my breathing was shot and weird. I never had it before. It was almost the diaphragm had just spasmed. I think I'd just gone so cold, I'd just gone into shutdown mode. So I hemorrhaged loads of time in this last 25k section. So when you ask me am I pleased with it, I'm pleased I came third. And I think even without the weather impact or anything like that, I don't think there's anything I particularly would have done different, because it was almost just I didn't know what I was going to run into. It was almost just bad timing with the weather, and things like that. Yes, I think if I had changed my top and put on a thicker waterproof at Bedgeller, then this probably wouldn't have happened or would have been limited. But it's all hindsight, isn't it? I didn't know I was going to go into this crazy. I didn't know it was going to be so much worse. So I'm pleased I was third, and even without, I probably would have been third anyway, if you know what I mean. Maybe I would have caught JP. I don't think I would have caught Paul. He had quite a big lead. But I think I would have been third no matter what. But the annoying thing is, at my level now, you're just such a... I'm not so concerned about winning or coming second or any of these things or coming third. I'm more concerned, I want to walk away from a race and know I have executed it is perfectly as I can. Obviously, some small things you're always going to go miss. You're going to have some lows, you're going to have some highs, whatever. But like last year's UTS, I walked away from that and was like, couldn't have done anything different, perfect. Whereas this year, you're just like, could I have done something in that realm to manage to limit that damage? Because I was like an hour behind Paul by the end. And if you think 25k before that, I was 15 minutes behind him.
Yeah.
It's like, where has that time gone?
Yeah.
And now so much hangs on. I wish the UTMB index scoring system didn't exist. If that didn't exist, you'd just be like, third is third. I came third, doesn't matter, great. Even if I dragged myself to the line for the last 25k. But now that index exists and you get a score and you see where you rank globally and contracts and race bonuses are tied to it and all this thing, you're like, I should have been 30 minutes faster.
Got you, right.
And that just like eats away at me. I'm like, oh, you should have been 30 minutes faster. You should have got this score. You should have been closer to JP and Paul. Whereas really, I would love to just be third is third. Like, great day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a horrible situation to be in. I've just been like eating away at me for the lot. This is nice. This is like near my therapy. After this, I can like finally put it to bed. I've got to do a debrief call with Doug tomorrow. So maybe after tomorrow, let me put it back on mind. But it's tough. And it sounds horrible, doesn't it? Because like anyone would love to be third. Anyone.
Yeah.
But because I know I could have been maybe like 20 minutes off of, say I even just lost another 5 minutes to Paul over the last 25k. Like because I know I could have been within 30 minutes of him and instead I was an hour behind him, you're just like, you failed in a way, right? Even if it isn't your own doing.
Yeah, it's the feeling that because like you said, what to us, I mean, that is an elite level mentality that you're coming away saying, oh, I'm really disappointed with that time. Yeah. And I guess the performance, but it's those marginal gains, isn't it, that no doubt, you speak to Doug about where, okay, maybe if they stop for 5 minutes and sort yourself out, it would make a difference. But I guess the whole point is you're learning, aren't you, as well? How long have you been with Doug and the team for us?
Yeah, and to be honest, like, it wasn't a situation I'd ever found myself in. I've been quite lucky. I think UTS last 3 years, glorious sunshine. I've never really ran any ultra. I've done shorter fell races and stuff where the weather's been a bit grim in like January or February or stuff like that, but it's like less than an hour. I've never run an ultra marathon in bad weather, really, at all. And yet, JP in front of me is in his 40s. He's had some fantastic races at Dagenham, Defoe, Paul won Madeira last year in terrible weather. He's won Nice 100 miler, which is reputable for having really bad weather. So like they're super experienced. So probably just dealt with it better than I did. Whereas I was up there 80k into a race facing some conditions that I've never seen before. Even though you think this guy's from the UK, I've trained in some bad weather and stuff like that. But yeah, so it was new to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are still learning in a way, even though I'm now, several years into the sport. It was a new situation to be in.
Yeah.
I think sometimes like I said, I understand why you're disappointed in terms of the half an hour lost. Like for someone that moved at your pace, you can cover a lot of ground in that time, can't you? But on the other side of it, in terms of being disappointed, and lightly disappointed with it, but like I said, it's your first time you've experienced that weather that high up, and to be fair, you've still dealt with it. You just dropped off a pace. Like it's not. I think you'll come to terms with it in a couple of days once you've had your debriefs and stuff like that. It's not that significant, but in your level, it is, isn't it? It is.
Yeah. It's
is.
hard.
Yeah. And
it's hard because like everyone says, you get the comments on social. Everyone says like great race, like well done and things like that. And you're like, or you got to the podium and they say, oh, he's third for the third time and stuff like that. But it just like eats at you, right?
Yeah.
It eats at you.
Especially
I think what I find doubly frustrating or like bit taxing with being like at the elite end of ultra running and stuff is that like you only get like a couple of hits a year to perform at your best. So like if now I won't race, like my next serious race will be end of August. So like, this was my one chance to like throw it down, and execute perfectly. And it's not like next week, if you're just like a 10K runner at a fairly elite level, you just bang out another 10K in 2 weeks' time and just
make up for
right
it.
your wrongs, and then you just forget about it. Whereas the harsh thing about being at the longer end of ultra running is like, even if I wanted to do that, like I think the dumbest thing to do would be like go and do another 100K in June on the UTMB World Circuit, because just to try and, you know, but it's just tough, you know, when you get only a certain number of like chances to really to show it.
That's it, and the hardest thing is, like you said, even though people are saying, it's like even down to an amateur level, when someone says, "Oh, you've done really well there," but in your mind you even think,
you know, don't you?
Yeah. And we're not impacted by contracts and rankings. It doesn't impact us at all. So it must just be that times 100 for you to have to deal with. So it keeps us awake at night when we don't miss out on time by 5 minutes, doesn't it? And it's nothing to do with our jobs, is it? But, yes, I can imagine.
We're just human after all, aren't we? We are. And like you say, you set yourself targets, don't you? And like you say, it doesn't matter whether you're amateur, professional, and you train for these races. And we do, and if you get to them, like we've done a marathon before, we did Chicago a few years ago, we cried at the end of that because we didn't get what we wanted. And we weren't a million miles off, but we trained 16 weeks and we didn't get it. Yeah. And it was a moment where it was like upsetting because it was like it didn't happen, and then it was like, well, when we ever go to Chicago to do the marathon again? It's not happened again since.
It's so odd though, isn't it? Because like, it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
It's basically all in your head, right? Like, you're the only one that really cares about it.
Yeah.
So you can't really just stop taking yourself so seriously.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
It's nice to go through though, because like I said, with UTS, it's been and gone. It's only a few days away, but bar that small circle of people, your family, the friends and the people you speak to about it, like those that are following and tracking, it's like I say, it's gone now, isn't it? They won't speak about it again, but it's nice to carry it on. It is nice to carry it on and go through it again. It really is.
Yeah, because no doubt, Doug, I think when we spoke to him, you know, he find it's really important to him for you to reflect on how your performance was. So what did they say, mate? More reflective you are, more effective you are. So next steps for you is obviously going to be something where that's in your locker now. On to the next one, isn't it? On to the next.
With big puffer jacket on next.
Yeah, fantastic. Don't forget your base layer. So what is next for you then anyway?
Yeah, so like CCC end of August will be the next one. I had like, I'm quite bad in that. Well, I don't know if it's bad or whether it's sensible, but basically because I don't know, it seems a bit unfair as well in a way, because probably grabbing a spot from someone else, but a lot of UTMB races don't always sell out, so maybe I'm not taking a spot away from anyone else. But as contingency, I sign up to like, you'd see my name on a lot of UTMB start lists, but I won't be there. So for example, I like signed up to, I think, Andorra, Val d'Aran and Corsica in the next 2 months, and I don't think I'm going to race any of them. But like I sign up to Andorra in case UTS doesn't go well, because that's in like 2 weeks. So like imagine if you like twist your ankle going down pig track at UTS, then you're like, oh well, I can just bounce into Andorra in 2 weeks time. And then I sign up to like a backup for Andorra, which would be like Val d'Aran, just in case. And then I sign up to a backup for that, which would be Corsica. But now I probably won't do any of them. I was undeniable about doing the Corsica one, which is like middle of July, but I think, in all honesty, it's just not worth, you know, the taper and then the recovery. You end up just losing effectively like almost like a month of like training. Like this month of May will probably be like my lowest training month this year, just because of UTS. So I think I will take this week off completely of running. Next week, predominantly like maybe run every other day, do some cross training stuff. Then I've got a week in Switzerland with Ultra, which is pretty cool. With Hugh and Holly as well, and then all the sort of European bunch as well. So again, that's quite nicely timed, because I can kind of use that as a bit more, not really do any workouts, use it a bit more of like a holiday and just like chill, and then come back from that. That'll be 3 weeks after UTS, and then I can just start to like build through all of summer. So plans at the moment are pretty much do June and July at home, North Yorkshire, and then I bounce like back and forth to the lakes most weekends or every other weekend for some bigger hills and see Hugh and Holly and stuff. Maybe do like a few local races. There is the Swaledale Marathon, which I love, in 4 weeks' time. And it's so annoying. It's always so close to UTS. I didn't do it last year because I thought I was going to do the GB Trials race, which I ended up not doing anyway, but I missed it. But it's a really good like local race, and it's got like a huge history to it. I did it a couple of years ago and broke like the record for it, and you get it's like a really good trophy. And there's a guy on the trophy who I think like won like seven times or something like that. And he had like a really good streak, and my intention had always been to like try and outdo his streak. And knowing because I missed it last year, my streak's over. So it's like, do I go back? And now there's a name. If I went back and won it this year, there'd be a name between I've won it twice before, then there'd be someone else's name, then my name. And I feel like that would just annoy me. Someone in 50 years is going to look at that and be like, oh, Wigley bottled it in 2025. Win that year. Because that's what I think when I see this guy who has like the big streak has won it like 6 times, and then there's someone else's name, then he once won it again. And all I think is like, oh, he bottled it. Absolutely bottled it. So there's that in 4 weeks, but I might give that a miss. And then there's maybe a few other local races. And then I'm going to go to Doug's, south of France, for pretty much all of August to get some really like specific training for CCC. Yeah, get out in some big hills. He's got Canigou, like out his back door, which is like a 2,000 meter climb and stuff like that. It's super cool.
See, that's just different. It's different level, that, isn't it? That is, we were on about Snowdonia being like mountains. That is, it's mountain race, isn't it? Yeah.
It's really weird when you go from, so like I said, I did like a training camp in April last year with Hugh and Chris out there at Doug's, and we were doing like almost like double VK, just as like a training, just on the climb for like 2 hours, just persistently climbing. And then you come back and do like UTS or do like a recce for UTS, and you just up and down, like the climbing's done like 30 minutes. You're like, what a piece of piss.
Yeah.
It just like completely changes your like how you think about things.
Relative, isn't it? It's mad.
And you've got the altitude as well, because you were at thingy last year. You were there.
What,
Chamonix?
Yeah, I just visited Chamonix. And we went up the. I always forget the name of it. The cable car.
Angle de Midi.
Yeah. And we were up there about 15 minutes, and I started panicking. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah, altitude's the one thing that I've yet to really crack. So like, really haven't really got that part of the puzzle sorted yet. We're trying to correct this summer. Yeah. So that's kind of the plan with going to Doug's, is that he's not at altitude, so I won't be like living at altitude, but I can, because I've tried that before, and that I felt like it just wiped me out. So I'm now gonna stay at Doug's, which is like 600 meters or something like that, but try and get some good like training runs up at like 2,000 meters to try and at least get a bit of. You won't get like the sort of blood adaptations that you'd get from like living at altitude, but I should at least become accustomed to like working hard, breathing at that sort of altitude. So when I go to CCC and I'm on the first climb, I'm not doing what you're doing up. I'm going to be and trying to breathe in as much thin air as possible. And then maybe after CCC, there's another really good race in France that I would highly recommend. I think it's better than UTMB, and it's called Templiers, which is always at the end of October, and it's kind of like UTMB in that it's a week-long thing and loads of different races. It's got more races than UTMB actually, and it's the oldest trail ultramarathon in France. Nice. So I think I did it 2 years ago, and it was their 30th anniversary, so it's older than UTMB. And their like iconic race is on the Sunday, which is an 80k, so 50 miles. But the creator of this race, back in the like 30 years ago, he modeled it on like US running style. Right. You know how they're all out there with just like their belts and hand bottles and stuff like that. He was like, I want to get a race like that in France. So the kit list for the 50 miler is a bowl. I don't know why they chose bowl, presumably because they expect you to like run through aid stations and scoop up saucy sawn or wine or whatever. And I mean, the aid stations are literally like that. You run through it and it's like going through a delicatessen. It makes you feel sick. And I'm vegetarian, so I like hold my breath as I go in because it just stinks of like cheese and meats and stuff like that. It is class because you're literally on the start line with like a bottle, no kit requirements, think of like the Ark and all that weight in your back. All that just binned, and you just hammer it for 50 miles, and it's like really still got like 3,000 meters of climb, but like very rolling. It's a great race, highly recommend.
Want to watch them, mate? Want to watch?
Yeah,
That's October, that.
Fantastic. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Keith. Let me just tell you, this is the elite level mentality that this poor guy that's won Swaledale Marathon 8 times is being called a bottler because of 1 year. He didn't win it. So that's your elite mentality, because I'd be like, this guy's won 8 out of 9 races, whatever.
You shouldn't go back, because people will look at it and go, this guy has just turned up just to dominate, just to take this streak out. Literally,
I've got the course record now as well, so like
that's the one you want.
Just step back and just leave it.
Just once, just your name's there now, in between everyone else. Done what you needed to do and set the course record.
Yeah, course record's the one.
What was the course record? Just out of curiosity.
Like it's not quite a marathon. I think it's maybe like 23 miles or something like that. It's a bit short. I think like 2 hours 53 or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be like that, I'm guessing.
It's cool. It's like proper old school in that it's like little old ladies at checkpoints, and you have to like you have to carry like it's like orienteering clippers. It's no flags or anything like that. So it's kind of like fell racy a little bit. You kind of need to know where you're going, but it's equally frustrating because you'll like turn up to. I'll be hammering it, right, and I'm like turning up, leading, like going into a checkpoint, and I need to wait for this like little old lady who's offering me like orange squash. I'm like, no, just stamp my ticket here. And she's like, oh, I'll just go get the clicker. I'm like, come on!
Trying to rush out. Brilliant. Hey, last one for me, by the way. Quick fire for UTS. What was the kit of choice? What do you have? What were your trainers? What do you go for?
I was wearing the Ultra Mont Blanc Carbon.
Yeah, they're good things about them, you know.
But modded in that. So they normally come with the 3mm. This has all been authorised, so Ultra aren't going to sack.
Yeah, well, we've got a scoop here.
Yeah, I got them. I sent them to a guy just up the road from me, actually. Put on some Vibram 5mm lugs rather than like the 3mm lugs. So this was what my debate was. It like makes it quite a bit heavier, like 60 grams heavier per shoe, but like just the lug depth so much better. But it's like quite a good shoe. Like, obviously I'm sponsored by Ultra. In terms of like carbon shoes, I would say it's just like quite versatile. It's not like, I wouldn't even class it as like a super shoe. You know, it's not really in the realms of like an Adidas Speed Ultra or a North Face Vective 3, you know, these super stack things. I think its major pro is that it's not like those. So it's still a carbon shoe, but I can actually use it on the ground of UTS.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to run that in like a super high stack, massive foamy shoe, whereas this still has a bit of bounce because it's like a good foam and some carbon plate, but it's like you can actually not break both your ankles, which is nice.
So I've tried the Nike ones. I think the Ultra X or whatever. I've had them for a few years now, and they're the same. I think they've all got 3mm tread, but they are very low. So I've done a few trails on them, and you're not worried about the stack out on some of them. The North Face ones, I don't know what they are. The Vector 4, Vector 3s or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like that, and I've tried it once, and my ankles were like that straight away, and I couldn't do it.
I can't descend and stuff like. You're talking about descending earlier. Even if I go to Ultra, do a few shoes with like a little bit of drop now, even if it's like 4mm drop, I'm so much worse at descending, just because like I just feel like I'm gonna twist my ankles everywhere.
It just rolls. It just rolls every time.
Yeah, the ones I was in on Saturday are 0 drop. So I maybe don't get as much like pop and bounce on like the flatter sections and stuff, but I feel so stable going downhill just because I've got like, just like nice natural foot shape, you know, landing on the rocks well, rather than like, oh, I'm going to snap an ankle left, right, and centre.
That's a key thing. Like, say, if you're confident going down and you know where you're putting your foot, then, well, it's not a bad thing, is it? It's one thing, I've never looked at Ultra. They were at Seven Valleys and they're doing a few training, like try-ons. I didn't try them because they were just too busy, but I might have to try them at some point.
Again, sponsoring 13 Valleys and stuff this year,
I've got a permit waiting to go off your trials.
Have you? but you'll get one at last, won't you? The one. But I've been looking at a few elites and everything. Last one from me. How are you carrying your poles? What works best for you? Because I've got the Solomon,
the quiver,
the quiver with it. But for like the 100 mile, I don't think it's big enough to get everything in. But the 15 litre they do, the Solomon one, doesn't have an attachment for the quiver, which is just mental, really. But yeah, what do you do with yours? What's your... Is it quiver as well?
I used to be very much an advocate of thinking quiver was like style over substance. Like I never used to... I've only used the quiver for last year's UTS and this year's UTS. I used to always use the belt and just do like belt loops, naked belt. Poles in the back there. I think that's quite good because that has benefits in that, like, it's some of the weight off your shoulder, like off your pack and off your shoulders, so it distributes the weight a little bit more. Having the belt itself means you can put some stuff in the belt rather than the pack, so that helps with some weight distribution and stuff as well. This year I didn't wear the belt and just used the quiver because I feel like I've now gotten quicker at using the quiver than faffing with the pole loops and stuff like that. But the belt would have been a bit more beneficial this year because it was wet. I don't put my waterproof on underneath my vest, put it over the top of the vest because I'll be in and out of it because maybe I'm more so than like some other people because maybe I'm like, I get into a valley section, I'm moving quite quick and I want to get the waterproof off. Then it's hard to get the poles in and out of the quiver. So
covering up.
Probably like the safer option is like the belt option. Because then you've always got access to the poles. You can get pretty efficient at putting them in and out of the pole loops and stuff like that.
Because like I say, at amateur level, you got a bit more time to mess about with the poles, haven't you, than quick in and out.
I think it's just what you get used to doing. Like I'm a big advocate of like race how you train. Like for every long run in the lead up to any race, like I'm going out there with the full kit, so I know how it sits in the pack. Is the quiver in the right position? Do I like that? If I don't like that, or I'm going to try the belt today, like just get used to like where everything is in the pack as well. If the rubbish is going in the right pocket and stuff, so it just becomes like natural on race day, and then you get practice with whatever system you end up using, whether that be quiver or pole loops or whatever.
Right.
The thing about the belt as well, you just need to be so specific about the sizing. Don't know if you've ever used the belt before, but
tried one.
There's been an odd occasion where I get the swells, is what I would call it, is that like late in the ultra where you get a bit of bloating and you basically turn yourself into sausages because you've got the belt like around the waist and it's just like game over at that stage. So quiver is safer and it avoids turning you into a sausage.
Yeah, because I think I had a few issues that first time I had one, and it was just a bit too tight, I think.
Yeah, it's not as comfortable. It kind of locks your hips in a bit, which I don't like.
Yeah, I'd rather have the weight for me. I'd rather have it on the back than round the midriff sort of thing.
Practice and making sure it like kind of sits right and stuff like that.
Right.
Quiver's cool though.
Yeah, quiver's cool. Quiver's cool. Yeah. For me though, the third place. I like how competitive you are in terms of the half an hour lost, should you say, but learning curve, it's your first race in terms of ultra up a mountain in the rain. I'm sure you'll come up with a plan next time in terms of what you do with it, just like you did with the 5mm lugs, you know, because really that guy could have just gone, no, go with 3mm lugs, you know, he could have done, couldn't he could have done, but
I'd have been so bad with those 3mm lugs. Oh my goodness.
And I find that quite good in terms of you were both racing against each other, and it's quite a good characteristic, that should I say, personality trait, in fact, that you've both helped each other and he's gone, no, come on, let's get those 5mm lugs on. Stop being silly.
Yeah. Well, we ran quite a lot there at the stretch together. It was quite funny actually because we had two Americans, the on athletes with us as well, Jeff and David, and like they were in like zero lug, like nothing. and you just like hear them like huge sketchy descent off Mo Shabbat really early on, like way worse than pig track. You don't do it in the 50k. It's like an absolute nightmare. 100 milers do it in the dark, like no idea how they do that. But like Tom and I were going down this, and we both had some decent lugs on, and you just hear the Americans like just sliding into rocks behind us and stuff.
Horrendous.
Just dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just
it is.
dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess they weren't expecting the same weather as well, were they? So
No.
brilliant. Well, what a talent!
Yeah, incredible.
What a talent!
Congratulations on the podium.
I always say I'm really, really good at losing. So now, third and third at UTS.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Really good loser.
but if you give me that at UTS, I'd take it all day long.
Yeah. No.
But
Yeah.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
Well, you know what to do. Stop finishing third, don't you?
Yeah. I'll probably go next year and come fourth again or fifth.
Yeah, it's a tough one because you've got an option there of going, I'm going to do the same race again or a step up. It's it's how much you want to improve on that third and improve on that time, and it's how much you actually want to go back and do that.
Like I said as well, it's like position doesn't really actually matter to me that much. Like as long as I know that I feel like I've executed it as well as I could.
Yeah.
Like I could have come fifth on Saturday and been more satisfied than coming third.
Yeah.
If I'd known that that's the best I could have done that day. Yeah.
And like,
within a margin of error, obviously, because you're gonna mess something up. Like nothing ever goes perfectly. But
no, and that's it. With the ultras over that distance in the areas you're doing them, nothing's set with terms of weather conditions or underfoot what it's going to be like. Every race is different, and every year something's different with it. So, but no, it's been great chatting, and I've learnt a lot in terms of just mindset. You like you're competitive, but I think you're very good with it in terms of you know what you want and you can see the confidence within yourself. So it's good to speak to someone that's like that. I'm going straight for a run after this.
The Trail Team Run Club.
Such a short period of time. Like in 2 years. Yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy. Awesome. Yeah, look forward to it. Look forward to the remaining race as well. I'm going to do another 8 ultras this year anyway. So
good. Yeah. Get them.
That was the advice, wasn't it? To do as many as you can.
Using the training races all the time.
Yeah, training race. That's what I call it. Brilliant.
More the better.
Okay, thank you very much. Absolute legend. Take it easy.
Thank you for having me on.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do